Hi, Brent. Good afternoon.
Hey Umberto, how are you?
I'm doing well. Could you give me back host access?
Oh yeah, sure. Let's see. Oh
I
goodness.
can do it right here on my end.
Yeah, where do I do that?
If you select my picture on the top right, it'll say make host.
There we go.
Okay. And I'll
Uh,
make you, yeah,
I
I'll
only
make
have
you.
chat. I only have chat and pin.
Oh, then you're good. Then you should be
Okay.
fine. Okay. You don't need co-host though, right? Because I'm gonna enable you to share your screen.
Yep. All I need to do is share my screen, and it looks like I have that ability.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think more people are trickling in. We have some people in the classroom and we have some people online.
Okay.
All right, more people are trickling in. Okay, right. Yeah, I was trying to make you co-host to give you capability and then it took it away from me. So
Gotcha. As long
yeah.
as you have it now.
Yeah, we should be good and you should be enabled now to share screen.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Let me go to the classroom really quick. I'm gonna go check in on a couple people, all right?
All right. Thanks. And just let me know when to get started.
Okay. Brent, can you hear us?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. You can get started. Yay.
Okay. That sounds good. Good. Here, I'll go ahead and share my screen. And let me stop my video too. Sometimes that slows some things down. Let me go ahead and share my screen, move a couple of things out of the way. And good afternoon, everybody, at the Greater McAllen Association of Realtors. Thanks for having me here today. This class is all about Matrix. I'm going to be showing you pretty much A to Z, soup to nuts, pretty much everything you need to know about Matrix in the next, 2 hours or so that we've got scheduled for this class. We may finish a little bit early too. We'll take a look. But what you're looking at right now is the Matrix homepage, the Matrix dashboard. And let me back up just a minute, just for folks who've maybe never even accessed Matrix before. The place that you log in to Matrix, the way you get to Matrix, is to go here to gmar.org. And when you do that, you can go ahead and click on members login here, at which point you'll be given, or you'll have, I would hope by now, your credentials, and you'll be able to log in and you'll land here on your Clarity SSO dashboard. So this is your dashboard where you've got a whole bunch of CoreLogic products, among other things. You've got access to RPR and Showing Time and Supra. A lot of links that Greater McAllen wants you to have down here at the very bottom too that are important to you. The one we're going to be focusing on today is CoreLogic Matrix right here. So it's that first widget under your SSO applications up here at the very top left. And when you do click on that, where you're going to end up is then back on the Matrix dashboard. So we're going to just start with some basic navigation. We're going to also take a look at some settings and setting up some branding. The other thing I want to point out to you is, especially if people are following along, my screen might look a little bit different than yours. First of all, I'll point out that Matrix is made up of a number of different widgets, starting up here with news and alerts, moving over to Market Watch and Concierge and others as well. So there's also one other thing I need to mention to you as well. You are currently on Matrix 12. And what that means for you is you've got the access to the brand new Matrix dashboard too. So in the upper right-hand corner, there is under your name a couple of different selections. Mostly what you'll see are settings, help, mobile, and log out. I've got these admin ones. You don't have to worry about that. But notice there's also a switch over here that says classic mode. That's what you're looking at right now on this dashboard. This is the dashboard in its classic mode. So those of you who maybe have used Matrix before for a very long time, you're probably familiar with this screen. Many of you who've logged in for the first time or maybe aren't familiar with this screen may have only seen the new dashboard, where if I slide that slider over, it'll ask me if I want to go to the new dashboard. And here's what the new dashboard looks like. So I'm going to be showing you things kind of from both ways today. The thing that I'll mention here quickly about the dashboard, the things that I like about the new dashboard in particular, you can see it's still made up of widgets, news and alerts, hot sheets, Market Watch, my favorite searches. Nothing's really changed there. But one thing that we've added here on the new timeline is, or excuse me, on the new dashboard is the new timeline. It's a notifications timeline. So over here on the left-hand side of the new dashboard, you can actually log in, and just like any dashboard, these widgets are designed to show you what's going on, with the market, what's going on with your listings, who's visited your portal recently. But this timeline over on the left-hand side that you can either expand or remove or kind of collapse lets you know what your clients have been doing over here. So I just wanted to point out those are the main differences between the old dashboard and the new dashboard. The only other real difference is you'll notice, and I'm probably going to go back to the classic dashboard to show you things in a moment, but on the new dashboard, which I'm showing you right now, when you click on Edit Dashboard, moving around your widgets or turning off your widgets is attained by clicking or dragging them in any direction that you want to, up or down, and that moves them, that'll shift them, from right to left and up and down. And you can also turn them off too. So for example, my favorite search is over here. If I want that to go off, I can slide it off and you can see it goes away. Slide it back on and it comes right back. So that's really the new changes in the new dashboard. I'll also point out the new dashboard is also a responsive web design. What that means for you is regardless of what kind of screen you're viewing the new dashboard on, regardless of how small I scroll it down, let me get a few things out of here. You'll notice everything just snaps to and fits. Notice my navigation gets a little bit different, the smaller I make it, but you can imagine if you were on a phone, if you were on a tablet, regardless of what screen you're on, everything fits just fine. So that's one of the main reasons that we've used this new dashboard, and of course, to give you a couple other features as well. I am going to switch back to the old dashboard, the classic mode, and I'll go to my classic dashboard. I'll also point out now, watch what happens when I shrink down the screen. Things just disappear. So things just go off to the right. You can't see them anymore. It's hard to access them. So that's really, the big difference between the new dashboard and the old dashboard. What I'll also talk about is, again, moving around some of these widgets, but let's also just sort of take a look at some navigation. Up here at the very top, we're going to focus on really mostly, and where you'll get most of your work done, is My Matrix and also search. So I always say search is where you do things. It's where you find properties, whether they're residential, vacant, multifamily, cross property, you're searching for agents or doing a public record search, all that's available for you here. If you're ever worried where something is, if you want to find something, My Matrix is where you do that. You're wondering where are my listings? Where are my contacts? Where are my CMAs? Where are my saved searches? Where are my auto emails? If you ever get confused on any of that, everything is right here under My Matrix. We'll go through a lot of this other stuff as well, but those are really the two main ones that we're going to be talking about today. Let's go through, first of all, with a couple of widgets I will point out the widgets here, the way those work is you can click and you can drag them. So you can actually move them from right to left or up or down simply by clicking on them. You can also collapse them. So notice I've got a little arrow or a little triangle in a box here, kind of next to the market watch. If I don't want to see what's in the market watch, I can shrink it up or I can expand it again. The other thing to know about the widgets here in the classic dashboard, you can get rid of them, similar to the way I showed you on the new dashboard, but you'll just click them, you'll X them out. So for example, if I want to X out, let's say listing data checker, once I X them out, they're gone, but you can always get them back. Where they end up when you X them out is they end up over here in the additional widget, which everybody will have as well. So you can always find them. Listing data checker was the one I just checked. I can drag it out and I can put it wherever I want. Otherwise, you can move these wherever you want just by clicking and dragging. So kind of a little bit easier way to move them around here in the classic dashboard. But again, lots of great ways to do it in the new dashboard too. So totally up to you as to which of those dashboards you want to use. As I mentioned, I'll probably show you some stuff here in classic mode. But again, decide what you like. Again, you can roll them up here in the classic dashboard, same way as you can, or excuse me, in the new dashboard, same way as you can in the classic. Customizing things, particularly such as the hot sheets and the market watch, are going to be done using these little gears. And I'll show you exactly how to do that in the classic dashboard too. But again, one of the nice things about this new dashboard is the responsive design and also the timeline. Those are really kind of the big ticket items. Additionally, what you can do up here in either mode, and I'll go ahead and I'll actually go back to classic mode for a moment. There we go. Is you can now change the text and the screen size too. So whether you're in classic mode, whether you're in the new mode, you've got the ability up here to shrink your header. I just talked about all the stuff on the header up here, but sometimes people find there's just not enough room to see everything that they want to on this home page. So in the upper right-hand corner here, I'm just clicking these two arrows where you can show the full header or you can not show the full header. Totally up to you to do that. And you can again switch those back and forth. The other way to make things a little bit more readable, we've got the change text size over here as well. So right now I'm looking at it, I think in a pretty small, large mode. The more I click it, the smaller the text gets. So it gets a little bit easier to see things the more you click this button, and it's really only about 3 settings, small, medium, and large. But depending on where you are, depending on your search results and things like that, you may want to change that text size too. So those are all ways to just sort of make your screen fit whatever device you're using, or also change the text just to make it easily readable for you. All right, I'll spend a little bit of time on the dashboard now to start with. Number one, there's news and alerts. If you haven't logged into Matrix in a long time, a lot of times you will see a pop-up that comes up like this. The news and alerts widget never moves. It always stays in that upper left-hand corner, and it's usually got information that folks at the Greater McAllen Association of Realtors want you to see. So that's why it pops up. It'll ensure that you've read it. You can go ahead and click close, and you won't see that again if you've actually said, I've read this. But you can always go to those news and alerts and see what's coming up with new news or new videos that the MLS wants to share with you as well. All right, couple of others that I'll show you. Again, your dashboard is like any dashboard. It's really designed to give you quick access to things that you're going to want to have quick access to, or give you information about things that have happened recently. Number one, I'm going to get in here pretty soon and I'm going to start searching for properties. When I search for those properties, in many cases, I'm going to email them to my clients. In this case, when I email them to my clients, many times they're going to visit them in the One Home client portal, which is somewhere I'll take you to in a little bit too. When your clients visit those properties or look at those properties in the portal, they have the ability to favorite them, write you notes, do their own searches. And for example, in this recent portal visitors widget, I can see who's visited my portal, at what time, whether or not he's saved a search recently, whether or not he's favorited properties, or whether or not he's left me a note recently. And since all these things happened only a couple of hours ago today, these are things that I might want to visit quickly. Hey, which properties did he favorite that I sent him? What did he send me a note about? Does he want me to show him a property? Things like that. Also, any contacts that you've worked with recently, if you find yourself logged out, you don't want to search through all your contacts, your recent contacts are right here too, and I can go right to John and into his contact card and see what it is that he's been doing in the past, 24 hours or the past week. I'm going to show you how to do searches, as I mentioned, and I'll show you how to save searches as well. When you save those searches, if you want them easily accessible, you can put them in your favorite searches widget. That's over here on the left-hand side. When you do searches and you find properties, but you maybe don't necessarily want to do anything with them right away, you want to save them for a later time, for work that you're going to do at a future time, or for another client, you can put them in carts. When you put your properties in carts, those carts will show right here, and you can access them quickly at any time too. All of your listings will be down here. Now, I am not an actual agent with the MLS, so I have no listings. So those are some things that you won't see of mine. You won't see any listings here. But you'll get different listings with different statuses, and you'll be able to click on them and have access to them very quickly here too. Of course, there's some external links that the MLS has made available to you. And also they've provided you some statistics via InfoSparks or for showing time. And you can actually take a look at some of these stats. You can even go and see more stats. This is an external program that I must admit I don't have a lot of experience with. I'm not going to show you too much about this today, but I did notice today that you can get in here and you can run all kinds of great stats. So you can see pretty simple interface. You can choose, different types of properties. Again, I am not a huge, this is one of the first times I've seen InfoSparks, I'll tell you that. But it looks pretty easy to use, and it looks like a really nice service that the MLS is providing to you as well. So that's yet another widget that you have access to, and you can take a look at some stats. Again, look at trends, share that information with your clients as well. Okay, some widgets that I'm going to spend a little bit of time on and get a little bit into the nitty-gritty on here are going to be your hot sheets and your market watch. So we're going to start to do some sort of looking around at these. Actually, before we do that, before we even get into that, because I think if we do get into that too quickly, I don't want people jumping too far ahead with me. The first thing that I recommend, if you are a first-time user of Matrix, or if you just haven't set this stuff up ever, because again, when we start looking for properties, you're probably going to start sending them out to your clients. Before we do that, I want to make sure that all your branding is set first. So I'll get back to those two widgets in a minute. But what I'm going to go to first is up here in the upper right-hand corner under my name again, where that switch was for classic mode and for the new mode. I'm going to go to settings instead. So when I go to settings, again, because if we start sharing listings with clients via email, via print material, we want to make sure that our branding is set up. You want to make sure that your clients understand what they're getting and who they're getting it from. Now, I just clicked under settings. There's a lot of custom stuff here, a lot of stuff that's going to get sort of advanced. I do this class quite often. Very often, I split it up into a 101 class, and a 201 class, and they're only about an hour each. Usually, I don't get into things like customizing speed bars or customizing exports until later in the class. So we'll get into that later today. But what I want you to do now is I want you to focus on my information. So as we click on my information, you're going to be faced with 5 different tabs. And a lot of your information may have already been imported, things like your name, things like your email address as well. But what I encourage you to do on this first tab, the information tab, is fill out as much information as you can into these boxes for phone numbers, taglines, email addresses, team names, because a lot of this information here is going to feed forward into some drop downs and other areas where you can kind of set up your header and footer and your CMA cover sheet, among other things. Once you get things changed in here, once you get all the information added, I encourage you to hit save and of course, since I didn't make any changes, it lets me know there's no changes to save. But I just want to make sure you hit save because as you move on to the next tab here, it won't save that information as you move from tab to tab. All right, I've now moved to header and footer. So this is where I want you to notice, again, here's the header that's going to appear at the top of any print material that I generate out of Matrix. And the other place where it's going to show up is your client portal as well. I think I've got my client portal set up here. I think it's over here. I'm going to switch for you just 1 second. Remember, right now I'm in Matrix. I'm acting as you, the realtor, and I'm setting up my dashboard. I'm setting up my banner. Where this is going to be seen by your clients is in their client portal. So this, what I've just clicked over to, a new window, I've opened up a new window in Chrome here. This is where your clients interact with properties that you've sent to them. So you can see all the properties over here on the right. You can see them over here on the map. But most importantly, what I wanted to point out to you is you can see up here at the very top, this is where that banner shows up. We'll get into much more detail about this client portal in a bit. But remember, this is for your clients. This is really not necessarily for you. You do have access to it in certain ways where you can see what your clients are doing. But for the most part, this is where your clients interact with properties that you have sent to them. All right, I'm going to switch back to Matrix again and go back to that, again, settings section where we were talking about earlier. And you can see I've got my nice little dock here. I like that one with the sunset. I think it looks great. Also, you'll notice my name, my photo, my email address, and a couple of other things that are all coming from that information tab. If I want to change anything that's on this banner, I can, just use my first name, or I can scroll down there and I can use my entire name. If I want my email address to be the third line and my real estate team to be the second line, you can change those things. You do that here with these drop downs. You can also choose to use a photo. You can see I've used mine right here, or you got a radio button here that allows you to not use a photo. Totally up to you. If you do want to use a photo, certainly you're going to, and if it's been the first time you've ever gotten into Matrix, you're going to have to upload that photo. So if I click on change photo, here's where you can upload up to 3 different photos. So all you need to do to upload a photo is click on browse. And of course, the photo that you want to upload needs to live somewhere, on the laptop or desktop or whatever device you're using to access Matrix. And you'll have to find it, double click on it, and then it'll be uploaded. And then you'll be able to toggle between up to 3 photos that you may have. There's another photo that I have of me. Here's yet another photo I have of me. So you can decide which ones you like, scroll through them, and then again, you can play with this too. You can make things, maybe a little bit closer, a little bit further. If I want the logo on my shirt to show up, I can use that too. But click, drag, also click and drag, make things larger if you want to. Get it exactly the way you want to. Go ahead and hit save. And again, you'll have your photo up there if you want to on your banner. And remember, that's going to show up in a lot of different places. It's going to show up on things you print potentially, even as PDFs. And it's also going to show up on your client portal too. Next, you can also change your banner if you want to. Now, if you have your own custom banner, you're welcome to upload that. We're going to let you know exactly all the specifics that you need to know about uploading that banner. If it's something that someone's created for you or you've made in Photoshop, you can upload it here, but it needs to be of a certain size. We've also got lots of different banners for you. So if you want to select a different banner or image or theme, just click on that selection there. And here's some mock-ups of different banners that we have available. They start very basic. We can get into golf courses or beach chairs. I've got a couch. Here is a nice little walkway. I've scrolled down. Here's another beach look, some good looking houses. There's a marina. Also some colored houses. We've got the ocean here too, office building, palm trees, really just about anything you want. Go ahead and scroll through. I don't think you'll be using the skiing one that much. Here, the sunset sailboat looks good to me. I'll change to that one. I'll go ahead and hit preview. I like the way that looks. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And what you'll notice, I'm going to switch on you again. I'm going to go back into that client portal. I made changes in Matrix to my header. Watch how fast that takes effect over here in your client portal. So as soon as you change it in Matrix, changes on your client portal, changes everywhere for you. All right, back into Matrix again. The other thing you can do is you can also change some of the colors that you see in this banner. So for example, I like the white text. It does look quite good because it's got a good contrast with that dark background. But if for some reason you wanted to change it, I can go to my branding text color, click on the little color swatch here, and maybe I want to make it more of a yellow, like a bright yellow, and I can hit done. And now I've made my text yellow, and it's orange up here as far as the link, the branding link color. So if it's an email address, it's going to be orange. The regular text is going to be yellow. That's how easy you can change those things. In fact, if you've got the hex codes for those colors, feel free to paste them in there, and you can change really, anything you see here, the background, the branding links, or even the text color. So that's your header. Now there's also the ability to use a footer, and you don't have to use a footer if you don't want to. You can say no, or you can say yes. And then really it works exactly the same as the way the header did. You can change, what you like to show on the header. And that's these 4 things right here. I've got my name, my team, my email address, and my phone number, but you can change them and put them in any order that you want to as well, and mix those up if you liked. And of course, change the colors here, but really all you can do to change the colors here is change the text color. In this case, it's black, and the actual line color down here, which is an orange to kind of match the header that I've already used. So once I'm done, I can go ahead and hit save. And that's changing up your header and your footer. Now, the next thing is I'm going to show you how to run a CMA in a little bit. So I'll move next to the CMA cover sheet. On the CMA cover sheet, it's entirely independent of what you've done on these other tabs. No drop downs here for you or anything else like that. You can put in your name, your address, your city, your state or province, your phone number, your email address. Also, things can be overridden in many cases. You see my name is put in here as Brent Adams, but maybe if you're a William and you go as Will or Billy, a lot of times you can override these things and change those. So that checkbox is available to you as well. And you can change your photo here independently of what you have showing up on your header or footer. So you can have a totally different photo on your CMA cover sheet as you do on your header and your footer if you'd like to. Next, I'll move over to the email signature. So, and it's letting me know, it thinks I made some changes. I'll say, okay, I don't mind missing those changes because I don't think I changed much. But as I mentioned, you do need to hit save each time you navigate to the next tab. But here's your email signature, and this is going to show up out of any emails you generate directly out of Matrix. So I highly recommend that you set this up. Otherwise, people get emails from you and they can't really tell who they're from. So really everything down here is a text editor. I'm not going to cover too much about this. This is where you can highlight, make your font different sizes, different colors, bold, italics, things like that. The big things that I want to point out are the ability to insert a photo, which I've done. So all you can have to do there is actually click on image. And there's a couple different ways to add a photo to your email signature. If your photo lives somewhere on a website, preferably one that you control, and you've got a URL for where that image lives, www, .ht or http, / www. This is where my image lives. You can paste that here into the URL, and you'll be able to link an image into your signature if you want to. So that's one way to do it. But of course, understand that if something changes with that website, you might lose that photo. Now you can also click on select image. And any images that you've uploaded are going to be available for you here, and you can simply choose them and they will upload right here into your signature if you want to. The other thing I like to show about the signatures is you can make things clickable if you want to. I've got my email address in there right now, but it's not clickable. I can actually make it linkable so that when people click it, it starts an email out to me. All I need to do there is go up to the link button. Looks like a chain link. Go ahead and click on that. And what you'll see is you can do it with a website or you can do it with an email address. Totally up to you. I'm going to do mine with an email address. So I'm going to post the email address in that it should go to when it clicks on bradams@corelogic.com. And once I do that, now that's clickable. You can see the underline goes there underneath it. And when I send things out to people, they'll be able to click on my email address. Or in many cases, if you had a website there, you could make it clickable too. So those are really kind of the big things I wanted to show you about the email signature. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit save there. Next, I'm going to move over to the portal profile. You've seen me go over to the portal at least 2 or 3 times already in today's demo. So what you can do in the portal profile is set up your photo. You can also set up a portal greeting. Who are you? And put in, a little bio here if you want to. This is a great place for you to connect with your clients. Who are you? How long have you lived in the area? How long have you been selling homes? Talk about your family, volunteer work you do, any awards you've won or anything like that. And it'll again show up in your portal. So when your clients visit your listings, they're going to be able to see that information and know who you are. You can put videos in here too. So if you've got a YouTube video that you've made or that you're allowed to use, all you need to do is paste that YouTube URL right in here. And then people will be able to watch a nice little video of you or anything else you want them to see. And then also here under contact information, you can decide what shows up in your contact information. Let me just really quickly, again, point out I'm operating as a realtor. I'm in your settings section, setting up your portal profile. Where this is all going to be seen, this portal profile section is going to be seen in your client portal, and it's going to be under here under my agent. So this is where they see your photo, your bio, your contact information, your video that you want them to see too. So again, we're just talking about kind of setting folks up. So again, you can see all this nice branding and your clients are going to see that branding too. So that's everything I wanted to show you under branding first. So we're going to head back to the dashboard quickly. There's a lot of ways we can do it. I can click on my matrix. I can click on the Greater McAllen Association of Realtors logo, or I can click on dashboard under my matrix. They all take me right back to the same place. All right, there were a couple widgets I wanted to talk to you about first, and those are Hot Sheets and Market Watch. So Hot Sheets and Market Watch are quite similar, but they sort of show things in a different way. So under Hot Sheets, you've got well, I'm looking at about 7 different ones: residential, vacant land, multifamily, commercial, commercial lease, and rental. So if I click on any of these bottom 6, it's going to take me to information over a specific time period that I set about properties of only that type. If I wanted to look at all properties, cross property is going to be my choice. So cross property encompasses all the 6 things below it. But let's just say I want to see all the changes that have been made to residential properties in the past 3 days. I'll click on residential, and I've got 480 different changes. Now, these could be status changes, they could be new listings, they could be price increases, they could be price decreases. Basically, any type of change that's been made to a listing, it'll show up here unless you specify otherwise. So that's how that hot sheet works. Now, don't forget, this is MLS wide, and this is every single type of change that you might possibly see. So that's what you get under your hot sheets. I can also say, hey, what's gone on since this session with residential properties? And I can click on that again, 121 changes. So I've limited the amount of time, so I'm getting less changes there. I can do that with any of these different types of properties. I can do that with vacant land as well. And when I click on vacant land, only 37 changes to the different pieces of vacant land that you're seeing here. And there now you're seeing things like new listings, back on market, price decreases, options, pendings as well. So status changes too. What I want to show you next is that you can customize these hot sheets. You can actually add new hot sheets. So there's 2 ways to think about this. If you maybe only work in the city of McAllen, and you only want to make sure that, when you click on these, you only see changes within the city limits. You can go in and you can customize them that way. So I could go and click on customize here. I could go to residential. I could go to edit criteria after I've highlighted it. And I can go down here to a city and type in MC, choose McAllen, hit save, and then hit done. What that's done for me is now I will only see the changes to residential properties that have happened in the city of McAllen, Texas. So I click on residential, we're down to 14 changes, and that's it. Now, that is going to stay that way until you change it back. So I can go to customize, I can highlight residential, and I can hit reset criteria. And now it's looking at the entire MLS again. So you can customize any of these that you want to anytime. I'd recommend renaming them if you do that. And then another way to approach this is to add a brand new hot sheet too. So instead of changing an existing hot sheet, I can take this and I can hit add. So now I'm going to build from a residential hot sheet. Maybe I'm only interested in seeing price increases and price decreases. So I'm already going to rename it residential price increases and decreases, and I'm going to hit save. So it's now added a brand new hot sheet for me. But of course, all I've done is copied the residential hot sheet and given it a new name. It's not doing what I want it to do yet. It's not showing me just increases and decreases. So now that I've got it highlighted, I need to go to edit criteria. I can say price increase and price decrease. Those are the only things I'm interested in seeing. And then I'll go ahead and I'll hit save. And as you can see, you could change it up for condos or a house or a specific city, or draw a shape on a map, or look at properties that are only $500,000 or more. There's all kinds of changes that you can use to customize these hot sheets. So you only see what you want when you click those buttons. But what I've done is I just changed it to price increases and price decreases. I'm going to go ahead and hit done. And now when I go to residential price increases or decreases, let's say maybe over the past 24 hours in this case, those are all price increases and decreases in the past 24 hours, and that's all you're going to get. So that's how hot sheets work and how you can customize them to work the way you want them to. What I'll move to next is Market Watch. Now, what Market Watch does is very similar to what the hot sheet does, except it's just sort of a different way to approach it. The property type is seen down here in the dropdown. So now if I want to look at just residential changes, over the past 3 days, I do that using these drop downs. And it'll give you a nice visual representation of what's going on right here in the widget. So if I just want to see price increases or price decreases for residential properties over the past 24 hours, I can just go ahead and click on price decrease. And there they are. There's those 24 price decreases over the past 24 hours in the entire MLS area. All right, back to the dashboard again. You can't add new things here. What you can do is you can customize this entire market watch, the whole widget, rather than just one of them, or rather than adding a new one. You can customize this entire market watch. That can be done by clicking on Customize. So if I click on Customize, and I was looking at just residential properties, maybe I'm only interested in changes being made to houses in McAllen, Texas. And I'll go ahead and click on McAllen. I'll hit save. And now I'm only looking at residential changes over the past 24 hours in McAllen. That's it. And that's why a lot of these numbers have gone down a lot. Now, you may go out of Matrix or get logged out of Matrix and then log back into Matrix and say, my market watch looks light here. Why are there so few things? Because you may have forgotten that you customized it. The key to knowing that you've customized a market watch widget is down here next to Customize, which is always there. You'll see a reset button. So that means you've customized it in some way. And if I hit reset, it goes back to looking at the entire MLS again. All right, so that's kind of your crash course on widgets and the hot sheets and the market watch, which I know are probably pretty important to a lot of you. You know, maybe it's the first thing you check when you come in sometimes during the day. What I'm going to move to next is we're going to do some searching. So we're going to start with some basic searches. I'm going to click on search, and I'm going to go to a residential search first. Now, when I go to look at a residential search, you'll notice I get things like bedrooms.
Hi, Brett.
Yes.
Hey, Brett. Sorry, somebody had a question really quick.
Oh,
Who
yeah,
had a
sure.
question?
Well, I don't know if anybody else has questions or is it just me?
No.
Everybody
We'll follow.
Go ahead.
It's just.
Just want to make sure if I'm the only one, but yeah.
It's going really fast.
Oh, okay.
Are we
So
going too fast?
you want to slow down a bit, Brett?
I can absolutely.
Okay, it's being recorded, just in case you guys want to rewatch it after we're finished.
Okay.
Don't worry about that.
Is he gonna be going over the new one?
Brett, do you think you could go over a couple more details about the new matrix?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's
what we
my
need.
question, Humberto, like, so if it is different, then why are we on the old one?
Yeah,
Or how does
Because it's
it
a
feel
crash
like-
course on both, so I think
Sure, yeah,
it's
I
a
can go
2-hour
over
course.
the new mode. It's,
Brett can,
so I went over
Is
to
there
the new
another
mode.
course?
Go ahead.
sorry, so this is the first, but I can have Brent resume and pivot back to the new one. And this is not the last training lesson, so don't worry, there will be more.
So I guess that's a question, right? If this class, right, there's no one where like, okay, everybody, let's work on this and we all can do it together as either a group. I'm sure this was just, concise, but maybe
Right.
in the future we can do one where.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do more in the future, because as these changes are getting implemented live, we wanna make sure everybody knows how to do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah, Humberto and Brent, just for clarification, so like, so we have access to both dashboards, or are we just norming and we're gonna be using just?
Eventually, we'll move on to the new one,
Yeah, and I-
later, way later.
Okay, so then can we just stick to, I just don't want, I think life is already confusing. And we don't want more of that, so like,
Eventually, down the line, once Matrix has already ironed out all the kinks and all the
Yeah.
bugs, then we'll make it permanent, but we're way out from that. We don't even have a date specific to.
How do I
take
get to
away.
the old one? Sorry.
Click on your name on the top right.
Okay.
That's plastic one.
Perfect.
All right, there we go, Brent. If you wanna take right over, sorry about that.
Yeah, sure. No, please interrupt me anytime you want. We're all here to ask questions and feel good about Matrix by the time we're out of here. So, and we've got lots of time, so no problem at all. What I'll point out to you on the new dashboard, and it's sort of the reason I stayed on the classic dashboard, is because things haven't changed that much. So I just spent a lot of time on the hot sheet and the market watch widget with you. As you can see, it just looks a lot better. You can click on residential and watch what it does. It goes right back to that classic view. It's just that first part of the widget that's changed. Everything else I've showed you hasn't changed at all. When you want to customize your hot sheet, I showed you how to do it in the classic mode a moment ago. When you click on customize your hot sheet, watch this. It goes right back to that old classic mode that I was showing you too. I'll take this time to sort of point out that we are slowly upgrading Matrix to make sure that every single page is that responsive design and that new look. You know, we haven't done it all at once. So what you'll see many times when you're on the new mode or this new dashboard is you'll start to click on things like you'll go to customize your market watch. And it's exactly the same classic mode that I just got back to there, from that classic dashboard. So things haven't changed all that much. I just kind of want to point that out. Really, the biggest changes on this new dashboard compared to what I was showing you on the old dashboard is, for example, customize moved from a button that said customize down here at the bottom to right up here. That's it. Also, if you want to run it with a custom time frame, you can do that here too, up here at the top. Otherwise, your time frame here, is all the same. You can even set custom down here if you want to as well. So again, all the same stuff. Refreshing your market watch, that's a new little button that we have up here too. Otherwise, everything's the same. The drop down for time frame, for property type, nothing has changed at all. The biggest changes on this dashboard is instead of clicking and dragging widgets, you can't do that anymore. Now you got to go to edit dashboard and you got to click and drag here. This is where you click and then you drag them. This is where you put them up at the top or at the bottom or wherever you want them. This is where you turn them off or turn them on. That's the big change. The other big change is the timeline over here on the left-hand side. This is where you can see at a glance, what has my client or what have my clients been doing? And I think those are the big benefits. I think this is the biggest benefit of the new dashboard personally. Otherwise, really everything works exactly the same. Everybody feeling comfortable with that at this point? If not, just let me know and I can always go back. But otherwise, really everything's pretty much the same layout, same everything. Okay, not to confuse things, but we've got, and I'll go through this momentarily with you as well. I just went to a residential search, for example. There is also a button that says, guess what? Try our new search. So let's kind of start with the basics here. I'm on a residential search. When I do a search, I can enter my criteria into these boxes, which is going to affect what properties show up on the map, on this tab over here where my mouse is, and what properties show up on my results. So it's 3 different tabs. So whenever I make a change to criteria, I get less properties on the map, I get less properties on the results. And there are 3 tabs, and I'm just toggling through them, as you can see. The new search is a little bit different. And we can go through both of these if you'd like to, because again, there's pluses and minuses to both. This is what the new search looks like. So instead of having tabs, we call this the 3-panel search. This is also where I like to shrink things down. I like to use that shrink header thing that I showed you. And I like to use this text shrink too, because it just makes things a lot easier to see. It might be harder for you to see them on the screen where you guys are sitting in this classroom, but you'll be able to see them better on, a laptop screen like I'm on right now. So as I mentioned, and you can always go back to classic mode, upper right-hand corner, switch to classic. So the way to get from classic to new is to go ahead and either click on try our new search up here at the very top. That's what takes you to the new search. Or you can click on the 3 dots over here on the right and switch to classic if you want to as well. And that takes me to my results page, but I can just switch back to my criteria. There's a lot of different, I'll do both. We'll start with classic, I'll move to new. How's that? What I want to point out as far as a residential search is, as I mentioned, bathrooms, garage spaces, carport spaces. If I go ahead and I do a vacant land search, it looks extremely similar, but you're going to see things like no bedrooms, no bathrooms. I'm not going to have condos or single family homes or apartments over here. Instead, I have commercial, improved. The whole idea is depending on which search you choose, you're going to have different search attributes available to you. And the same goes for the new search too. So as I go ahead and I go back to a residential search, that's probably where I'll be doing most of my searching today. I'll point out that you have all these search attributes ready for you kind of out of the box. You can't move these. These are where they are, and it is what it is. But as you scroll down a little bit further, there's a little gray line down here at the bottom, and it'll be here at the bottom of every single search. And it'll also say additional fields, add. So if you're seeing something that if you're not seeing something that you want to see in a residential search, in a vacant land search, in a rental search, go ahead and click on add here on this gray line. And you'll be given a list of every single search attribute that you could possibly add to this search. So you can customize your own search fields if you want to. Let's say one that I'm really interested in, it's a hot summer. I'm really interested in doing some search for, well, instead of cooling types, how about heating types? I can put in water heater. There's all kinds of things you can put in here. I can put in HOA fees. Again, it's a lookup table. So as I put in information, you'll see it show up. But if I want to know what the POA or HOA fees are, if they're included, I can add that field. So all I have to do is highlight it, hit add, and then go ahead and hit back.
Do we have one for?
Is there a question? Go ahead, Jose, if you got a question. No question. Okay.
Yes. On the field, can we add for sale by owner?
Let me double check. I'll go to add and remove. I don't know if that's a field that's available. Let's put in owner, for example. It doesn't look like it. So it's probably not going to be something you're going to be able to put in here. The good place to find for sale by owners or public record sales is probably going to be under your public record search. That's going to be your best place to go. That way you'll be able to find properties that sold regardless of whether or not they sold through the MLS. So this will show you every property that sold according to the county records that we're able to collect. And you'll be able to cross-reference that with whether or not they have a listing associated with them in the MLS. That's probably my best suggestion for that. But that's how you can customize pretty much anything else that you want to put, at the bottom here. And anything you customize will always show up at the bottom. No need to save. It'll always be there the next time you go into that specific search. The next time I go into my residential search, we're going to have this information about fees down there, and you can put that information in. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do a basic search here. Let's say I'm going to look for actively listed properties. I could also look for solds too. When I click on sold, notice what it does. First of all, it highlights it in blue. That means I'm using that as a search attribute. That's always kind of a dead giveaway. Also, it defaults to 0-180. That means it's looking for sold properties, and I can unclick active here, from 0 to 180 days in the past across the entire MLS. And there's 2,211 properties of that nature. If I wanted to narrow that down just to properties that sold in the past 30 days, I can put in 0 to 30. There have been 376 sales in the past 30 days. Additionally, you can also use the calendar icon on any of these date ranges. So you feel free to put those things in the dashed format like I did, or maybe I only want to find sales from the beginning of June to today. So I select the beginning of June to today, I hit OK, and there's been 119 sales in effectively the past 13 days. So you can see it actually formats the dates for you. You're welcome to put those in there actually manually if you want to, but it's nice to use that calendar icon. Also, pretty much anything I'm showing you, provided you either mouse over it or click on the question mark next to it, it's going to tell you exactly what to put in that box and how to put it in that box. So that's almost true with just about anything, price, MLS numbers, if things need to be separated by commas, if you need dashes for ranges, we're going to tell you those things. But I'll look for actively listed properties. And let's say I'm going to look for houses. Another thing to pay attention to at the bottom of some of these search operators, some of these searches, are search operators. Do I want to find a condo or a house? Do I want to find not houses, just other types of properties? So you've got or, you've got not. Yes? Let me know if there's a question. If not, folks, I would recommend muting your microphones if you do not have a question, but if you do, feel free to speak up. I will always take those. The other thing to know is sometimes you might even find and for your search operators too. So just pay attention to those. But I'm looking for a house, actively listed homes. I'm down to 2,448 matches. Let's say I'm only interested in finding properties in the city of McAllen. I type in MC, it's an autocomplete. The other thing to know about some of these fields is they have lookup tables too. So a lot of times you can click, hey, Henry, if you wouldn't mind muting your microphone, that would be terrific. We're hearing some of your background noise come up, or I don't know if I can mute you myself. I may just do that, or Umberto, maybe
I
you
don't
can.
have anything on.
Okay, it's just your microphone is picking up something that you're doing in the background.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but yes, I do not have anything on the background.
Okay, there should be a mute button somewhere on your controls, probably somewhere down in the lower left-hand corner of the screen that you're watching me on. There's probably a little, there you go. Thanks, Henry. And if you got anything to ask questions about, just let me know. Just pipe right up. Just
You're
wanted to let
welcome.
you know.
Thank you.
Just want to let you know we could hear you. So next, we've also got lookup tables. So you can also click on those, and here's all the different cities we've got for you. Again, start putting in MC. You'll get to McAllen that way if you want to, and you can add it there. So there's all kinds of ways you can get in that information into the city section. County here too, subdivision, zip code, all geographic ways that you might want to search. You can put in the tax geo ID if you've got a specific one. Of course, you can separate those by commas if you like. If you're looking for a property at a certain address, put in the street number here, the street name here, and we've even got the ability to hit more, so you can look up multiple properties. And then, of course, I'll move over here to things like price. Let's say, just for sake of argument, I'm looking for some properties for my client, John Homebuyer, and he's looking to find properties in McAllen. He's willing to pay, let's say, how about he wants between $400,000 and $500,000. Notice my zeros are checked here. So that means I'm not looking for properties between $400 and $500. I'm looking for properties between $400,000 and $500,000. Also, this is a nice place to mention that things like price, bedrooms, bathrooms, acres, these are pretty much designed to be either an exact amount, where I put in 400, maybe more than a certain amount, 400 plus, any properties more than $400,000, 400 minus, any properties less than $400,000, or as you saw earlier, 400-500, any properties between $400,000 and $500,000. Again, can get confused, mouse over, we'll tell you exactly how to put those things in and exactly what this field is too. We'll have pop-ups for you there. All right, maybe John's got some kids. He needs a couple different bedrooms. So he wants to find at least 3 bedrooms. He wants to find at least 3 bathrooms. So we got 3+ beds, 3+ baths, $400,000 to $500,000, single family home, actively listed in McAllen, Texas. I've done my search. So what I'm going to do now is there's 2 things I can do. I can click on results. I could also work my way over to the results tab. They'll both do exactly the same thing. So I can go ahead and click on results. And maybe I say, wow, I've got 35 different properties. Maybe I don't want to find properties all over McAllen, Texas. I'm going to go back to my map. And of course, now we've only got 35 properties there. Maybe John's not interested in living, out here on the north end of town. He really wants to be near downtown. So another way you can narrow down this search is you can go ahead and use this map. You can see where the properties are geographically, and you can even check them individually. So you check which ones you like, or you can just draw a shape and eliminate certain properties from your view entirely. So I could draw a radius, rectangle, polygon. I like this freehand polygon. It's like a pen. So I can just say, you know what? I'm only interested in this area right here, and all those other properties, I want those to go away. And they do. You can even exclude properties from the shape that you drew and only find properties outside that shape. So all kinds of fun tools that you can use here to, again, narrow down your search. And I'm now down to 19 properties. Again, I want to point out that whatever you do on one tab happens on another tab as well. So now I go back to my criteria tab. It lets me know I've got a map area that's been selected. I drew a selection on the map. When I go over to my results, it's only down to 19 people. I can also go back to my map, see where that shape is, back to criteria, hit clear map, and now that shape is gone. So just when you do things on one tab, they happen on the other. Just kind of want to point that out. All right. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to kind of run you through just some of the views we have available for you. So agent single line is what we default to for the most part. There are a lot of different views that you have available for you. You got a hot sheet. We looked at those already. They've got certain fields. We've got an agent full. This is where you can actually take a look at everything that's been put into this listing, and you can simply toggle from property to property. That was the first property. Here's the second. Here's the third. I can do a client flyer. I'm not going to go through all of these with you. I just want to show you that there are a lot of different ones that are available to you. Looks like, over a dozen. And feel like taking a look at these. If you want to take a look at these, some of them are going to be better for your clients. Some of them are going to be better for you. So some you might want to share in some way or another with your clients, but some are going to have things like, on your agent full, things like showing instructions, things like compensation information, stuff you're not going to want to share with your clients. But that's why we've got a client full, where they can see everything they're supposed to see about a property, but nothing they're not supposed to see. What I'll point out in this grid is you can also change things around. So if you want your address to be on the other side of city, once you get these little arrows pointing in 4 different directions on these headers, you can click and you can drag. The other thing you can do is when you get in the middle of these and you want to make them longer or shorter, when I get the arrows pointing in 2 directions, I can click and drag, make it wider, make it more narrow. One other thing you can do when you get the arrows pointing in 4 directions, click, and this allows you to do a couple of different things. Format the width of the column, but you already saw me do that by clicking and dragging. You can decide how you want to do that. You can align the text left, right, or center. You can even wrap the line too. When I hit wrap line, watch what happens when it gets too small. The line wraps. So no matter how small you make it, you're going to be able to see what's in that column. So sometimes when you get things really big, you can't see stuff out to the right-hand side of your screen. You might want to wrap that text, particularly if you're someone that adds a field like a legal description or something that has a lot of text in it, something like that. What you can also do here that's very important is you can add or remove columns. So there's no reason I'd want to remove my address column, but I can insert a column next to it if I want to. And when I click on insert column, it gives me a choice of all the different columns that I can add. And maybe one of the things I wanted, let's see, was some of that HOA information, any HOA fees that there might be on these properties. There might not be any, but hey, I'll put them in there. So I'll hit apply, and there you go. Now you've got properties, and you can see very quickly which ones have HOA fees and which ones don't. Now, once you've done that, there's a couple of different things that you can do as far as customizing this and keeping it that way. Many times in Matrix, you're going to see a gear icon. Whenever you see the gear icon, and you'll see it in a lot of different places, it's going to allow you to set whatever you've done as a default if you want to. So basically, if I like the way this agent single line view looks with those HOA fees right there, I click this gear icon and I can say, set this current display. Also, it's going to do some other stuff. Sort order, count per page, as well as your starting search default. So if you're someone who also wants to see 100 properties per page and you want to see them sorted by, price per square foot or anything else, sort them that way. And then you click this gear icon and say, set this to my current default. So every time you do a residential search and you look at an agent single line view, it's going to be in that order with those columns added in that width, everything that you've got set. Now, if that's not something you want to do, if maybe you just want to keep that single line view, but you also want to save it as a copy, you can click on the little icon over here. It's a little pen and a little pad of paper. When you click on that, it starts with agent single line, and I'll just say with HOA fees. So now I'm going to save that as a copy. And now on my dropdown, not only do I have all the same views that I just showed you earlier, I've got a new one. It's got a little prefix on it. It says my, and it's got a colon next to it. And it says agent single line with HOA fees. So that's a new copy. That's a new view, a custom view that I've created that I've put in right here too. All right. That's kind of all I wanted to show you about the views. Now, of course, you still, and I can get rid of HOA fees if I want to. I can just remove it like that. There are a couple icons over here that don't have headers on them. This allows you to view the photos or the map for a property. So those will be shown to you in pop-ups. Where's that property located? Or maybe I want to see the photos for that property and scroll through them. Also, you've got access to RPR, any attachments or supplements. If there's an open house, you'll be able to access it. And you can also get into the realist tax and public record system. Another thing I'd also do want to show you is you've got the ability to also click into any one of these listings, and here's one more view I do want to show you because I think it's important to show. It is the Agent 360-degree property view. You can either get to it by choosing it from the dropdown, but it will also default to that if you just click on the MLS number itself. To me, this is the most holistic view you get of a property. You get everything here. Once you get into this 360-degree property view, you have several tabs, and I'll work my way across them. Number one, there's the listing tab. Everything that's been entered into this listing. You've got agent remarks, you've got escrow information, you've got compensation information. It's all here. This is for you. You've got a nice little area where you can scroll through the photos. You can even make the photos really big and another pop-up and scroll through them if you want to. You've also got pretty much every single external link you could ever want to see. Some of them I've already shown you in the one-line view: photos, map, history, relist tax, RPR. But here now you've got ZipLogics, you've got Offer Manager, InfoSparks, showing time, super keybox instructions. If you want to see everything, you want to go to the 360-degree property view. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to hop over to the tax tab. I mentioned the relist tax and public record system. It's its own separate system. That's another training I'm happy to give to you guys on another time. But what you're seeing here is all that same information that you see in the relist tax and public records information. This is not information that's been input by a listing agent. This is information that comes directly from the county about who owns this property, where it's located, 3 years worth of assessments and taxes, physical characteristics, and building features. This is all county data that you're seeing right here, and it comes from Realist. The next tab I really like, and this is where, again, you get a holistic view of this property. This is going to be a mixture of things. When I go to history here, we get the entire listing history for this MLS. This property has got a lot of listings on it, as you can see, and I'll show you why in just a moment. So lots of listings on this property. It's also got sales history from public records. So this was all your listing history up here at the very top. This is all sales according to the county. So these could be potentially sales that were processed through your MLS. We've got sales dating back to all the way to 1991 when this property originally sold. And in many cases, and actually I should say all cases, you're never going to see sale prices here in this public records area because Texas is a non-disclosure state. We do not get sale prices from public records data. We do get them from your listings. Look what else we have. We've got mortgage history for these properties. You know, I mean, you'd have to be pretty sure of what you're doing, but, you know, based on mortgages that are taken out, you could do a little detective work in many cases and kind of figure out, you know, maybe almost what people paid for those properties or what kind of equity history they have in those homes. And then I think one of the reasons this property has been, you know, so desperate to be sold is it's got a foreclosure history too. So this will let you know any foreclosures that have occurred on the property, when they occurred, and their corresponding document numbers too. It really does give you a very good look at what's been going on with this particular property over the past, you know, several years or even decades. Next is your parcel map. So I'll click on parcel map, and there's 3 different maps that are available to you. I won't really go into too much detail about the ones up here. One's satellite, one's a sort of map view. That doesn't mean you can't change them. One is really designed to show you the estimated lot dimensions. One's designed to show you where the property is located in the major scheme of things, but they can be scrolled out, they can be scrolled in, you know, they're interactive, you can change them. The one that I find helpful is this map down here. Shows you exactly where your property is, and I can even scroll down into it and kind of see where it is. There are also lots of different overlays that I can place on this map too, different boundaries, different MLS statuses. I can show where all the active, the pending, and the sold properties are. So we can show all those, and they'll start showing up in these little push pins. So just at a glance, I know what the inventory is around this property. So those are all things under your layers. They're the same layers that work on your full map that I was showing you earlier, where I drew the circle just to find properties. They've got the same exact tools there: trends, parcel characteristics, all kinds of things. You can place things on individual parcels. What I like about this map is it allows me to walk the block. So here's the property that I'm interested in, of course, that we're looking at right now. I can see who lives next door. And when I click next door, I get the address of the property, who owns it, and I go to their tax record because this property's never been sold through your MLS. As I close out of that and I click maybe across the street and click on this one has been sold through the MLS. It was last sold in 2018 for $264,000. So since it's been listed through the MLS, I can get to the listing history for this property, or I can get to the tax record for this property. So both of those things will work if the property's been listed. If the property's never been listed, you're just going to get that tax tab. So just a nice way to navigate around the property. You can also go to your photos. Your photos are their very own. And of course, you've got all the information about the photos that have been put in here too. You can even go to the foreclosure tab, which will not be lit up unless the property has some sort of history of being in foreclosure. And right now, this is an RE-owned property. We already saw, I think it's McAllen Investment Partners that owns this property, and they are, of course, want to sell it. So, of course, here's that foreclosure history that we've got there. That was everything I really wanted you to show you having to do with the old search. So that was, again, the classic search. What I'll do now is I'll show you how to do all that same stuff in the new search. So I'm going to click on try your new search now. And now we're looking at, again, it's a totally different look. But everything I've showed you, all the buttons, they all do the same things, but they all are going to kind of act a little bit differently. I'm looking for actively listed properties here. You can see because active has been chosen. If I go to click on select, I can also decide to find solds or pendings, anything that I want to. I'm going to really do the same search I just did. Current price, I can put in a minimum of 400 and leave the maximum empty. That means I'll find any properties over $400,000. Or I can put in 500 in the max, and now I'm finding properties between $400,000 and $500,000. That running total is right up here under matches. And again, I can scroll in and scroll out there too. Property subtype, click on select. Again, it's just a different look. If it's a big pick list, I'd be able to put in HOU, and it narrows it down to just house and townhouse. But of course, I did earlier, I just want to find house and I'll hit apply. Bank owned or not, short sale or not, you can put all that in there too. Street number search, a minimum and a maximum. Street direction prefix. Again, you've got the or not operators. They work the same way. They're just in a different place. I was looking for properties only in McAllen. So I'll click on select. Here's another one where it's a huge pick list. To get to my MCs, I'll type in MC, click on McAllen and hit apply. And I've got 40 different matches. Remember earlier, I drew a shape on the map too. So I can go ahead and I can click on my drawing tools and I can say, I only want to find these properties in that shape in there. So everything really does work the same. It's just instead of tabs that you have to work your way through, you've got a search panel, a map panel, and a results panel, and you get to see them all at one time. It really is a matter of taste, how you like to work. And again, if you're working on a smaller screen, don't forget, all these things are going to work if you're on a phone, if you're on a tablet, if you're on the desktop. So it's just kind of a nice way to do those things. If you want to clear your search fields, you do that up here at the very top. You hit the erase button. If you want to save that search or set these things as defaults, you can click on that little icon up there at the top. If you want to customize your search, remember how I showed you how to add fields to your search? You can go ahead and click on the gear icon. And here's where, remember I put in HOA earlier. I put in HOA. I want my HOA fees and I want to click it. I want to add them. It adds it all the way down here at the very bottom. I can click and I can drag them up higher or down lower. This is how you customize what shows up over on that left-hand side in your searches. So that's how you customize your searches over here. There's those POA, HOA fees that I just added down there at the bottom. It's even got a POA, HOA, yes or no up there too. But everything kind of works the same. It's just a different look. I got to be honest, sometimes I like the classic view. I don't like to have to scroll all the way through all these different fields. Sometimes I like to just see them on one screen. It really does matter. It really does. It's up to exactly how you like to do things. But again, date range, today, last 7 days, last 2 weeks, use the calendar icon the way I did earlier, go from the 1st to the 21st if you want to. It's all about how you like to do those things if you want. I can even hide my search section. I can even make my map really big and just look at one big map. I can make my grid really big and just look at information on the grid. So it's, again, designed for you to customize things the way you want them to be, the way you want to see the information in these properties. Another thing I did was I'll click on one of these numbers, and it actually gives you all this information about the property. This is the full property view that you've got here. And you can scroll through the different properties of the 33 that I chose. Directions and remarks, all your buttons, virtual tour, linking out to Realist Tax, ZipLogic, InfoSparks. We've just moved things on you. You know, it's all the same buttons. You just got to kind of look around for different places where they're going to be accessible. All the extra features, the financing, the agent and office information. It's all here for you, basically. You can select all these properties or not if you want to, too. So we can get out of there. It's, again, a click and a drag. And I can also go back to my single line view anytime that I want to as well. Right now, I'm on a full property view. I can go over here to a list view. I can also do a thumbnail view. Sometimes people like to see those photos at the beginnings of those properties. I can go to a gallery view. This is a really nice way to look at properties too. This new search is really great, folks. I'm spending a lot of time on it, but it's stuff that you're just going to kind of want to click into, you know, just want to kind of see what you like. You know, all you have to do to get the photos to be brought up is go ahead and click on those photos. You know, now they've been changed into, you know, front structure, kitchen, living room, bathroom. So things have been organized differently. So there's a lot of nice different features that you can use there. And of course, you can just click on one of these properties and get to a summary of it over here on the right too. It's just all about navigating around. Once you get to this thumbnail of this photo, if you want to click on view details, that gets you into that full view again. Again, you've got the latest and greatest when it comes to Matrix. So you've got all these different views and all these different ways to search for these properties. But really decide which ones that you like the best. And then again, you can, again, look at those properties in any way you want to. If you want to switch back to Classic, you can always click on the 3 dots over here on the right-hand side, and you can click on Switch to Classic, which I'm going to do for a moment, because what I want to do now is I want to show you how to work through the button bar. And then, of course, when I'm done here, I'll show you where all those same things are in the new search too. So I want to do some things to these properties, let's say, under these action buttons. And first, let's just say I want to email some properties to my client. So I am going to pick a couple of them at random. I'll just click these top, 4, 5, or 6. And I'm going to go down here and I'm going to email them to my client. I'm going to click on email down here at the bottom. All right, if you've got some contacts that you've entered into Matrix, and I haven't showed you that yet, but I will in a little bit. Sorry for skipping over that. In fact, you can create a new contact here if you want to from scratch, entirely up to you. So if you've got someone that you just met at the grocery store today and they said, hey, I'd really love to see some properties. Could you send me something? All you need is their first name, their last name, and their email address. Right here from the email template, you can actually enter a contact. If you've got more information to add for them, we've got show all fields, a website, their house, their business, notes. Hey, met this guy at the checkout line today, asked me to send him some properties. You can put that in there. But all we need is first name, last name, and email address. And you can add a new contact right there. Now, I've got one contact, because I'm such a busy realtor, added in here. As I start to put in his name, it auto-completes it for me automatically. His name's John Homebuyer. That's his email address. I'm going to be sending these emails to John. You can also be blind carbon copied on these messages if you care to. That's up to you, but you'll get a BCC message. Put in a subject line. If I'm emailing some properties to my client, I'm probably going to want to say, hey, some great new homes for you, John. Check these out. Check these out. And let me know your thoughts. ... And let's make sure we spell everything right. And then remember when we set up our signature, here it is down there at the very bottom. And I can edit it from here too. All I need to do now is hit send. I have now sent my client 6 different properties. I am going to take off my agent hat for a moment because I've been acting as you, agents, searching for properties, send them to my client. Now I'm going to go into my client mode. I'm going to act like I'm not Brent anymore. I'm no longer the agent. I'm now John. I'm now John, the client. And if I'm John, I just got an email that says, some great new homes for you, John. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up. It's going to say, check out these listings and let me know your thoughts. Again, you're going to want that signature in there, because otherwise they're going to say, he's going to say, who am I getting this from? What is this? I'm just getting random emails. Now he knows, hey, oh, that's Brent, my realtor, the guy I spoke to in the checkout line today, wanted me to see some properties. Looks like he sent me some stuff. He clicks on view all listings and he goes into his client portal. So now he's here in his client portal. He sees
Hey,
where all the
Brent.
properties are. Yeah,
Can you do that again?
you bet. So I'm acting as you, the agent. I did a search, found properties in McAllen, Texas, between $400,000 and $500,000. Checked them, the ones that I wanted him to see. Clicked on email, put in John, put in a header, put in a body, hit send. That's all you have to do. That's what you do, the agent. Okay, I'm now no longer the agent. We're doing role-playing games here now. I'm taking off my agent hat. I'm putting on my client hat. I am now acting as your client who you just sent these listings to. I'm now acting as John in this case. I go into John's mail. This is John's email. I'm John. I'm like, hey, Brent sent me some listings. I want to see them. I'm going to click on view all listings. And now, as John, I'm saying, wow, Brent just sent me all these listings. They look great. Boy, I'm going to go through the photos for this one. And I'm going to say, I'm even going to click on the details for this one. And I'm going to say, wow, look at the front of this house. It's the epitome of luxury living. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Hey, it's $445,000. It's right in my budget. I'm looking at all this stuff. It's got the window coverings I want. It's got the exterior that I want. The taxes don't look like they're too bad in the past 3 years. You know what? I'm going to favorite this property. I'm going to click this heart and I'm going to say, this is one of my favorite properties. Not only that, I'm going to say, you know what? Hey, Brent, I love this one. Oh, geez, what did I do? Sorry. Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. I think I touched too many buttons. Hey, Brent, comma, I love this one. When can we go look? And we'll revisit that in a minute. He's now added a note to this. I'm operating as your client for a minute here. I'm kind of getting out of what you guys do in Matrix as realtors on a daily basis. I'm operating as your client. They can see a map where the property's located. They're going to be able to take a look at any properties that they've saved or disliked. And they can say, oh, I remember, I favorited that one. I thought these two were some possibilities. These are emails that have been previously sent to my client, and I disliked this one. This one I didn't like. I just don't like the landscaping here. On this one, I gave it a thumbs down. But as you can see, they've got the ability to browse through these properties. They can look at them in totally different ways. A map view. Also, actually, let me go back just to find a home. They can look at them in this nice little line view. They can look at them in a gallery view. They've got a client full if they want to look at it. They've got the portal map. They've got all kinds of different ways that they can look at these properties. This is what your clients do. And we always want to make sure your branding's up here at the very top. They remember you. If they want to get in contact with you or they want to see messages you've sent them, they can click on messages. They can see that, oh, look at this. Brent sent me a couple of different properties before, and we've talked about this. Hey, I love this one. When can we go look? Looks like I really love this one because I've done that twice now. Here's one where we've chatted back and forth. I love this one. Can we go look? And my realtor got back to me. Brent got back to me, said, absolutely, John. I'm going to set up a showing immediately and be in touch. The whole idea about this client portal is keeping your clients here in your space, looking at properties that you've sent to them, and making sure that you have your branding information ahead in front of them so they can get in contact with you and ask you any questions that they need to. They can even do their own searches if they want to. And if they've done searches, any of your searches that you've sent to them are going to be here, and any searches that they've created for themselves are also going to be here too. And you're going to be able to see those searches. So for example, they can click on find a home. They can go ahead and click on start a new search. and say, I want to find residential homes that are between $450,000 and $550,000 with at least 3 bedrooms and at least 3 bathrooms, and hit apply. And then not only that, they can draw shapes. Great, I found a bunch of properties, but I don't want to live over here on the right side of I-69. I want to live over here, you know, in this general area. So they can draw a shape. And then they can save this search and say, you know, this is, you know, my new fave search. So these are all things that, again, your clients can do after you've emailed them listings. That's about all I really wanted to show you as far as what your clients can do here. I'm going to go back into Matrix now, and I'm going to show you, you know, again, what else you can do with these properties and ways you can follow up on them. One thing I do want to show you while we're still in this grain, I'm going to move over off of the actions button bar for a minute, and I'm going to go to refine. When I go to refine, there's a couple things that I can do. Number one, I can do very simple things. I can narrow down the properties to only the ones that I have checked. So that's super easy. I can hit the back button and I can get back to my original results. Remember, I have these 6 properties checked. I can discard them too. I can get rid of them. And I can also undiscard them. Whoops, made a mistake, want them back, undiscard. What I love to show here is the view as button. So now I've done this search. My client's maybe been interacting with the properties, maybe not. I mean, we know he has because I just did it, but maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. If we want to know, go ahead and use this goggles mode and your clients will all be here. So now I can view this property as John Homebuyer and look at this. I can see when I sent him these properties, whether he possibilitied them, whether he rejected them, whether he favorited them. And I can also see that he's left me a note. So when these little sticky notes here get lit up, and you might see them lit up like this, when they're lit up, there are notes that exist. Remember I showed you that in the portal? I love this one. When can we go look? Absolutely. I'll set up that showing. When there's a note we haven't read, it looks like this. Not only is it yellow, there's a little asterisk next to it. And you click on that. Hey, Brett, I love this one. When can we go look? I'll set up that showing ASAP. And my client gets that note in his portal. It's all about collaborating with your clients, sending them properties, seeing the feedback that you received on those properties, sending notes back and forth, and getting them into the homes that they're interested in. So that's all found under refine. The other thing you can find under refine is actually sort. So you can actually sort by lots of things at one time. You know, if you want to sort by, you know, city first. Oops. Oh, I think it's city or parish, I think. It might be parish. No, it's not. Anyway, you can usually sort by that one. You can sort by price, for example. If I put in list price, you know, you can add that one in. You know, you could sort by status. You can add that one in there too. So you can, again, sort by any that you want, you know, primary, secondary status sorting. But that's how you can, again, do your sorting there if you want to as well. That's all under refine. All right, I'm going to go back. I'm going to clear that out, by the way. So now I'm just looking at properties just as me again. I'm not looking at them through the goggles of any of my clients. But what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and I will click on actions again. Because what I just showed you is I emailed those properties to my client. I've gotten through all that information, and maybe you guys are getting overwhelmed. Maybe that client portal is too much for some of your clients. You're thinking, I've got some clients who are not going to do well with that client portal. It's too much stuff. They don't need another website to deal with. They're not great with leaving me messages. Okay, what I'm going to suggest you do with those types of clients is click on print. Because what you can do is any of the views that I've showed you here, you can actually generate as print material. And it may seem a little bit counterintuitive, but you can also email those PDF copies of those things if you want to too. So if you want to send a client full to your clients, you can decide to use that header or your footer if you want to. I'll say, yeah, let's use that header and footer. Remember, we set that up. We'll do it on every page. If there's some images in there, maybe I don't want to print them. If I'm actually printing this to a printer, you know, you might want to use that because you don't want your, you know, your old inkjet printer printing a whole bunch of photos. You'll be going out for cartridges to Home Depot or, excuse me, Office Depot, you know, in the next couple of minutes. But what you can do is you can email simply PDFs of client full reports to your clients. And you can email them directly out of Matrix. If you want to see what that's going to look like, click on preview. And now all your client is going to get when you email them is a PDF that looks just like this, with the first property, the second property, the third property, the fourth property, and so on and so forth. So maybe that's a way you want to share your listings with your client. That's totally up to you. Again, you can do any of those. Client 360 view, you get to choose which of those tabs you want to include. Maybe you don't want to give them the tax information or the foreclosure information. Totally up to you. You get to choose which of these go and which of these don't go to your clients. Totally up to you. So that's emailing listings to your clients. And again, printing, and I should say you could print them as PDFs or you can email them as PDF attachments. But the two best ways, in my opinion, to share them are email and print. Directions, this is pretty simple stuff. I've got 6 properties checked. Here's the directions from point A to point B to point C to point D. You're going on a tour of homes with your clients. Everybody's got a phone nowadays. They pretty much know how to get from point A to point B. But if you'd like to provide turn-by-turn directions, here they are right here. So that's a nice little feature that's available too. I'll click back to my results. Those can be printed, emailed as well if you want to. I'll get into a CMA probably in a little bit. Stats, these are going to be just basic stats. So you can only use, again, tabular stats for these properties. If I've got these 6 here and I choose tabular stats, there you go. Minimums, maximums, beds, baths, square foot, list price, current price, days on market. There's a few others. If you want to arrange them by status, or you want to look at those actives, or listing agent count, you can do those things too. So those are all stats that you can run. That's some sort of more advanced stuff. You can export this information out of Matrix if you want to as well. So this is all stuff under the actions button. So as long as I have properties checked, email, print, directions, stats, export. I can export any of these views. Look, there's one of the custom views I created. So I can create my own custom exports. You create your own list, it will be exportable for you. There's an agent single line, there's a hot sheet, there's a 1004 MC. If we've got any appraisers in the audience, you can export any of those things that you need there too. And when you do export them, they're going to export into Excel. So as I open this up, I just had those 6 properties checked. You can get all that information you just saw in Matrix into a spreadsheet. So that's another thing that you can do there too. All right, back to my results. We've already, quick CMA, haven't shown you that one yet. Quick CMA, it really is, what you see is what you get. I have these 6 properties checked. If I want to run a quick CMA on them, I click quick CMA. And it'll take a minute for that to generate. By the way, folks, if I'm going too fast, you got any questions, don't be afraid to pipe up. I'll answer anything you need. But there's my header, by the way. Notice the header up there at the very top. That's good to see. And then there's my basic CMA, a little 1-pager. Medians, mins, max, averages, quick stats, everything in a nice column and row format. All right, back into Matrix again. That's everything I really wanted to show you here under actions. I'll get more into CMAs in a little bit. We've also been through refine at this point too. I've showed you how to narrow, how to discard, how to use the goggles view, as we call it. What I'm going to move over to, I'll show you carts next. So maybe these 6 properties, I see these 6, these are the ones I sent to John. Maybe I'm working with another client, Jane, although I don't have her imported here. I only have one client at the moment. But let's say for sake of argument, I was working with somebody else and I had some properties I wanted to include for a CMA for John later. These are properties that look great. Don't want to send them to him right now, but I think these would be great comps, and I'm going to save them for a comp report. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here into carts, and I'm going to create a new cart. And I'm going to call it John's CMA cart, and I'm going to associate it with John. I'm going to hit save, and now I've added 5 listings to John's CMA cart. That's it. Nothing happens to those. They're just in a cart. I've just put them in what I call like a little filing cabinet. It's a little repository where I've just stored them and I can use them at a later time. And you'll see how that works when we get to the CMA in a little bit. So that's what carts you'll be able to do. In fact, you'll see all your carts available here. You'll be able to add to carts automatically once you've created them, or create any new carts that you want to. All right, next let's get into saving searches and auto emails. So I did this search for John, looking for actively listed properties in McAllen, Texas, between $400,000 and $500,000 with at least 3 bedrooms and at least 3 bathrooms. And so far, everything you've seen me do is manual. I'm sending him all these properties. But if you want to automate those things or make those things a little bit easier to access, there's a couple things you can do. Number one, you can save this search. I can click on New Saved Search, and I'll give it a new search name. I'll just call it John's New McAllen Search. And I'll associate it with John. You don't have to, but you can. And I'm going to enable it as a favorite search on my home tab. And I'm going to hit save. So now I've got that search saved. Whenever you're asking, hey, where's my stuff? Where are my saved searches? Hover over my matrix. Your saved searches are going to be right there. I'm going to open things up in a new tab. By the way, one of the nice things about Matrix is you can work in multiple tabs at the same time. The only time we recommend you do not do this is during listing input. Do not work in multiple tabs during listing input. Otherwise, you can work in multiple tabs. So this is just, I do a right click, open a new tab. And there's my saved searches. All the ones for John. John's New McAllen Search. There it is right there. In fact, if I go back to my dashboard, I asked it to be a favorite search on my dashboard. There it is over there, John's New McAllen Search. So now the next time I want to walk in and I want to access that search, I click on it and I can get in there. I can manage it. I can open it up, anything else I want to. All right, so that's just saving a search. Now, again, I've done this search. I'm looking to send John these properties, but maybe I want to automate this process a little bit more. I've already sent him everything I think he'd be interested in terms of properties that are in McAllen, Texas, with at least 3 bedrooms and bathrooms between $400,000 and $500,000. But what if a new property hits the system that matches that criteria? I don't want to have to go into Matrix every day and look for properties and send them to him again. I want to automate this process. And that's where the auto email comes in. So if I want to click on auto email now, any of the properties that you see there in that search, I'm going to have the opportunity to send to John. Plus, anytime a new property hits the system that's in McAllen, that's between $400,000 and $500,000 and has at least 3 bedrooms or 3 bathrooms, Matrix will automatically send out an email to John. And this is how you manage those auto emails. So first of all, you've got to associate it with a contact. And it's letting me know this auto email is going to be enabled because John's already clicked through on one of his auto emails. I'll show you how you can see all that, whether or not these things have been activated or whether or not these things are not sending anymore and what the reasons for those are. But what this is letting me know is this is going to send out to him automatically because this is a client I've worked with before. I'm going to put in a subject here, and this one is going to say, some new homes for you, John. And the first email he's going to get is, welcome to the portal. Remember I showed you the portal earlier? That's where your clients interact with those properties. That's this. So what we're doing here is we're explaining to your client what that portal is. All the messages I send to you containing listing information are going to be in a link to your personalized page on the portal. You can access the portal with a web browser. You're going to be able to view the listing information, photographs, and maps. You're going to be able to sort them, rate them, categorize them. Hope you like it. Please click on the link below to begin your portal experience. So again, explaining to them what that portal is the first time they get the email. Then, anytime a new property hits the system, they get a recurring email that says, 1 or more new updated listings match your criteria. Remember the gear icon. If you don't like what's in this recurring email text, or you don't like what's in this welcome email text, you want to make it more personable, you want to make it more you, change it. And then click on this little gear icon and say, set this current message as my default welcome email text or recurring email text. So you can change those things if you want to and make them your defaults. My signature's down here at the bottom. And now you have a couple of different choices. So you can have these listings, the second they hit the system, go out to John. Soon as a property that's 400 to 500,000 in McAllen, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, it's going right out to John. You're not going to get to see it. Well, you can blind carbon copy yourself up here at the top, but you're going to get to see it the same time as John does. Same thing goes for if you want to schedule these daily. You can schedule them every day, every other day, afternoon, morning, both. Or you can send them out monthly. Maybe you're working with somebody who's looking for a vacation home on the, on the beach, and they only want to be bothered by you once a month because they're not really, hot to buy. Or maybe the market's moving so fast and you're so worried that John's going to miss out on this, you want to send them ASAP. So totally up to you as to how you want to schedule them. If you're someone who is a bit more of a control freak and you want to control things a little bit more, you want to see these listings before they go out, what I suggest you do is click on Enable Concierge Mode. Also, you can enable this as a favorite search on the Home tab. That's up to you too. So you can enable Concierge Mode, which allows you to review the properties that match that criteria before they go out to John. You can decide which ones go. And you don't have to log into Matrix to know that you've got properties waiting for you to approve or reject. You can be notified by email too. So that way, if you're on the run, you get an email, you see there's some new properties that John needs to see, you're going to get an email for that. And then what I'm going to do now is click on Save and go to Approvals. And look at this. Isn't this nice? It automatically shows me which properties I've already sent to him and which ones I haven't. So I know I've sent some of these to John in the past. He's even favorited some of them. So I wouldn't want to send him ones that I already sent him. I'd want to send him ones that I haven't sent him yet. So I'll check on these. I'll hit Approve Selected. And now those emails have gone out to John. Taking off my realtor hat, putting on my client hat. He's now got a brand new email that says, Dear John, welcome to the portal. All the messages I send to you, blah, 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 blah. So you get the idea. That's how that works. He clicks on these. He goes into the portal, and that's how he can find his properties there too. Okay, taking off my client hat, putting my agent hat back on, going back into Matrix. So that was really all the stuff I needed to show you about saved searches, auto emails. I'm also going to go back here into my Matrix and point out now under my concierge mode, 56 listings are awaiting my approval. So this is how I know where they are. You can be, again, in this mode. You can be in classic mode. And you're going to get all that same information, concierge up here at the very top. All right, what I think I might want to do for you next is show you that same stuff in the new mode. So again, kind of just keeping you on, showing you both things. Let's look for properties between $400,000 and $500,000. Let's look for just actively listed properties. Let's look for just houses. And this should all be getting pretty familiar to you at this point. I'm going to go down to my city. I'm going to select McAllen. And I got that search narrowed down to what, those 40 properties or so again. And there they are. Everything I just showed you on that classic mode on the button bar, it's all up here now. If you want to print out anything, of course, you're going to have to check property first. If you want to print out anything, click on print. Remember all those different views I showed you? The single line, the 360, anything else? Or, if you decide that, you want to print the header and the footer or not, or print with the ink saver or print with the search criteria, that's all right here. So it's just a different interface. It's just, we've moved the cheese on you, but we've tried not to move the cheese on you too much. If you want to save any of these as a new saved search, you can do that here too. Click on New Saved Search. And again, it's a new interface for you. It just looks a little bit different. John's saved search. And looks like I put a colon in there by mistake. Put in your contact or start typing in John if you want to, and he's right in there. Add as a favorite on the dashboard, little slider. Now it's a new saved search. That's it. Send. You can send an email directly, which I showed you how to do earlier in the classic mode. You can send an auto email. Click on auto email. And again, it's all the same stuff I just showed you. So you can decide who to send to, John, there he is, What's the subject? New homes for you, John. Here's that welcome message. Here's the recurring message. Here's all those choices. Do you want to be blind carbon copied? Do you want to add this as a favorite search? Do you want to use this in concierge mode? Do you want to be emailed by, alerted by email? How frequently do you want to send them? What's the criteria? You've got the ability to do all those things here. It's just a slightly different interface here in the new search. CMA button is also up here. A couple other things under the dots. Statistics, I showed you those briefly. Carts, I showed you those briefly. This is just where all those things live in the new search. So I've spent a lot of time on the classic search showing you all this. All the same things are available. Of course, you're also seeing, again, the ability to check multiple properties. You can highlight and check all those properties. Or I can just check individual properties if you want to. Or I can check them down here on the grid. The ability to draw shapes, you've seen. Polygon, freehand, ruler, all your layers for any sort of boundaries that you want to place on the map. So if you want to see all your city boundaries on the map or things like that, you can again place those up there if you want to. Totally up to you. And let's see what else. Whoops. Oh, sorry. Let me get back to those layers. Turn off those city boundaries. Put on any of your MLS statuses. You saw me do that earlier. Parcel characteristics, trends, points of interest, all things that you can place on top of the map if you want to. Setting and clearing the defaults, little icon up here for save, jump to a specific location, recenter the map, zoom in, zoom out. And of course, over here under those three dots, you've got your directions, your statistics, your export. So basically everything on your button bar, and here, let's go back to classic. Everything here on your button bar, actions, refine, save, carts, all of this in here is all up here. Print, save, send, CMAs, the buttons up here for stats, carts, exports, all right here. So pretty much your button bar is pretty much moved up here into the new one. As far as the map tools are concerned, if I switch back to classic, for example, and I go to my map tab, all my ability to check properties, all my ability to draw shapes, jump to address, zoom in, zoom out, all of that stuff is still here. Drawing my shapes, all my layers, zooming in, zooming out, all there for you. So that's kind of the majority of what I wanted to show you there as far as just switching between the two types. Let's go back. Something I haven't showed you yet is really managing what we've done at this point. So let's go and spend some time over here under my matrix. Under my matrix, for example, we'll start with contacts. So here's my one contact. It's John. I've got a couple ways that I can view him. I can view him in a one-line view where I can see the auto emails I've sent him, the saved searches I've sent him, the carts, the listing notes, the favorites, the possibilities. There's also a gallery view. So you can look at them in this little card view. See all the same stuff, just a little more compact. If I had more clients here, it'd be a little more interesting to look at. You can also add a client right here. All we require is first name, last name, email address. But if you want to add other things, we encourage you to do that. You can also import listings. You've got maybe clients in Top Producer, or you've come over from another MLS and you've had to export them from a Flex system or something like that. Get them into an Excel format, click on import, and you can upload an Excel document here, a CSV template, and you can import your clients too. You'll know if you need to do that. You can also click on John here himself, and you can go and see what he's been doing recently. What's he been doing in his portal? Now, don't forget, you've got this, and you've also got the timeline on the new view. Also, you've got an open portal button. I've been spending the past hour and 45 minutes here telling you that the portal is for your clients only, and it is. But if you click on open portal, or if you go in and click on any of the blind carbon copy emails that you've sent to yourself, look up here in the upper right-hand corner, BCC portal for John Homebuyer. You can't do anything in here, but you can see what's going on in here. You can see what John's been doing. You can see how he's favorited things. You can see what searches he set up. Now, these are all things that you can do in Matrix as well. But, if John's in here and he's saying, what do you mean you sent me a note? Well, you can go in and you can say, well, John, it's up here under messages and it's right here. It's the one you haven't read yet. You can just open this one up and you can see that message that I've sent you, or you can see any notes that I've sent you on these properties right here. So BCC, it's just the ability for you to spy on your clients. You can see what they're doing if you want to. You can't do anything here for them though, however. Again, you can go right into all the auto emails that you've sent to John. You can open them up and you can adjust the settings. Maybe you say, I want this to, be, I want to change the concierge mode. I want to change the concierge mode. I could go into settings. I could say, I no longer want this to be on concierge mode, and hit save. And now that's updated. And now that's an auto email that's just going to go out to John. I'm not going to be able to look at them first. You could change the criteria. You could look at the results. You could run this search. You could run it since a certain date or do a market update. So it's just about managing your auto emails here. Carts you've set up for John. You can see you can see the carts you've set up for John. You can see the settings on that cart and how many properties are in that cart too. How many CMAs have you created for John? We're probably going to do that here towards the end. I'll get that going for you in a minute. You can see all the emails that you've sent to John too. Whether or not they are direct emails, whether or not they are auto emails. What sort of searches have you set up for John? You can manage them here. What's the criteria? What are the results? Run a market update, run them since a certain date. All those things you can do here. You can delete them from here. What searches has John done? You don't have to go into John's portal, blind carbon copy. You can see the searches he set up. And this is a good thing to look at. You might want to look at these and you can say, well, shoot, I've been sending John properties between $400,000 and $500,000. Why is he looking for properties between $500,000 and $700,000? Good time to reach out to John and say, hey, has your budget been, upgraded? Should I be sending you more properties? So that's all the information that you can get here from contacts. Now you can also get to your listings for any client here, your CMAs for any client right here. I've of course only created one for John, so it's only the one. So there it is. Any auto emails that you've set up for any client, not just John. Of course, I'll have the contact name for you here, but you can see how long I've scheduled them, open them up. You can manage them in exactly the same way I showed you how to do from the contact card. It's just a slightly different look. But that's really everything I wanted to show you there. Let's do a CMA. I will start by telling you there are a ton of different ways to do a CMA, and we'll probably get you out of here on this one, folks. I'll probably show you a couple things at the very end as far as, the help sections, but I think we'll finish up with a CMA if that's okay. And hopefully I can come back another time, and because there's more to show you for Matrix, but I hope I've got you started here today. But if I go ahead and I just get some results, I'd probably want to narrow this down a little bit more. But I can start a CMA a number of different ways. I can select properties that I want to use as comps. Now, I just randomly selected these. This is a terrible way to start a CMA, just so you know, but you'll want to pick yours out a little bit more carefully. You can click on something down here at the bottom under your actions bar that says CMA. And this takes you into the CMA wizard, where you get to start by associating it with a contact and you just work your way through the CMA process. That's one way to start a CMA. Another way to start a CMA would be to go to my matrix, to go to my CMAs, go to start a new CMA, and look what it does. It takes you to the same wizard where you can start through the whole CMA process. And then again, you get to manually choose your subject and your comparables by doing a search if you want to. I am going to show you a way that I like to do comparables that's a little bit different. Number one, I'm going to go back to one of my old searches. It's another great way to search, by the way. Go up to recent searches up here in the upper right-hand corner, and any searches that you've done recently, you can access, even if you haven't saved them. It's another neat feature. So over here on the right, here's all the searches I've been doing with you guys over the past couple hours. I'll click on this one where I get my 40 results. I am going to go into, let's just say this one on 5th lane. And what I want to point out is in the 360-degree property view, nowhere else, not in an agent full, not in a hot sheet, not in an agent short, nowhere else except 360-degree property view. Do you see this view comparable properties button right here? This is the way I like to create a comp because I'm starting with a subject property, the one that I want to comp, and some of you might be different. Some of you may say, no, I want to find my comps first, but I like to start with my subject property, and I'm going to click on View Comparable Properties. Every time you click on the View Comparable Properties button, regardless of what property you've done it from, it will always find you 20 different comparables every time. I would be shocked if it didn't, or maybe it'll find you nothing sometimes, but if it's like a really weird property, but it'll find you 20. Now, the first question you might have is, why did I find these 20 and can I add or remove them? And the answer is that to all those questions is yes. And you can find out more about that by clicking on Find More Comparables down here at the bottom. This is going to give you the opportunity to do two things. Figure out why those 20 comparables were chosen. And the reason why those 20 comparables were chosen was because of all the things you see filled out in blue. It's going out 87 days to find these comps. It's
Hey,
only
Brent.
looking at the city of McAllen. Yeah, go ahead, Jose.
Can you
Sorry, I know the feedback.
restart?
Yes. So,
Go slower.
yes, I will go back and I will go back again. And back one more time and back again. Okay, 360-degree property view. This is my house, 322 South 5th Lane. I want to do a CMA on this property. As long as I'm in a 360-degree property view, which is the one I think you should always be there. I like it. It gives you the most information. I can click on View Comparable Properties. All I did was press that button. Yeah? Got it? Okay.
What if the property is not listed?
Oh, okay. All right. Good question. I can go to search. I go to a public record search. And when I go to my, let's just say for sake of argument, I did a search. I can open up this property here. And, oh, I could, there it is, right there. View comparable properties. So if you do a public record search, which by definition will find you properties that are not listed, you still have the View Comparable Properties button over there. So you can comp any property you want. Doesn't matter. You can totally do it. All right, I'm going to go back to one that is listed, but because the process will be the same. But we'll click on that. Got my 20 comps. Why did I get these 20? And can I tweak this list? Yes. Find more comparables. Bottom. Here's where I can see what it used to find those comps. Searching over 2 zip codes in McAllen, Texas. It's doing $10,000 or more on current price to throw out any rentals. It's finding residential houses, because that's what I started from, a residential house. So it's not giving me condos, not giving me mobile homes. It's looking for between 3 and 3 bedrooms, 2 and 4 bathrooms, this square footage, this many acres of land. Maybe I tweak it. I say, maybe I'm okay with finding 2 or 4 bedrooms. And I click on my results. Those 20 that we had are still there. This is a brand new list of 21 more properties that I can add to the 20 properties that I already had. So I can add this one and this one. I can click on this one with 2, and I'll just add another 3. So to the 20 I already had and haven't done anything to yet, I added 3 more. So add selected. What does that get? What does that get me? 23. Now, I'm not sending out a comp report to somebody with 23 properties on it. That's way too much. So I can, I'm just doing this in the interest of time. You'll want to be a little bit more careful in what you choose and what you don't. But I can choose which ones I do and which ones I don't want to include. I'm going to whittle this list down to, something a little bit smaller. I got, 14? I'm going to hit remove selected. I am removing the ones I just checked. They're now gone. I'm down to 9 comps. Let's pretend I did a lot more work and found the good ones, but those are the ones I'm choosing to use. Really quickly, if you want to run a very easy CMA, just the brief, the map, the minimums and maximums, list price and sale chart, You can do that simply by, again, going up here to this little drop down, choosing which things you want and clicking on view report. That's a quick CMA. That's just a basic CMA. We'll wait for that to generate. It'll take just a second. Just got a drink of water there. Starting to lose my voice after 2 hours. Thanks for listening to me. Hopefully I'm not putting you guys to sleep out there. All right, here's that CMA. It's coming in a minute. There we are. Look, there's my header. Brief summary. The map. My minimums and maximums. My list price, sale price, and days on market. That's it. That's a really, really basic comp report. If you want to get into that CMA wizard from here or from anywhere, you saw me again go to new CMA by starting a CMA here or starting with my comparables and clicking CMA on the button bar. This Create CMA takes you to the exact same place, the wizard, where you just walk through the steps here on the yellow brick road until you finish your CMA. And we'll go through that right now. So I'll associate it with John. I'll say new CMA for John.
We asked a
Next,
question.
yeah, go ahead.
So, two of us here are playing with some of our own properties, trying to find those quick CMAs on the 360 view, and they're not showing up.
Really?
Your address, so you
Are
can
you
look
in
at.
the new search?
I did both. So, 10/7, was it 10/17? 10/17,
1101,
what?
1101.
1101 South First Street.
Maybe you can walk us through that one.
All right, let's do a search.
I'll put this out.
1101. I'm thinking it'll be, that'll probably find it.
That's it.
Good. You don't have this button? Oh,
That
Um,
may not have been launched just yet, Brent.
Oop,
We may still be
sorry.
pending some testing on our end.
okay. I'm sorry. You know what? I've got my super admin privileges, and I thought I went in and logged in as one of you and tried to see if you had some of this stuff available, but you don't. Okay, so
Yeah, soon
let's
we
go.
will.
Let's go back.
Testing.
Let's go back to the drawing board. Now I've pointed out to you why I love that view comparables button. I can show you how to do. Let's show you how to do one for this particular property right here.
Hold on, he's got another question.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I got you here. Maybe this isn't turned on either. The biggest thing that's irritating me is that when I open it up on my phone, on the new view, the search bar is not there.
I can't troubleshoot that for you right now.
If you're having issues with a particular feature, please email me, and we can open a ticket together. That way
Okay.
we can make sure that it gets ironed out.
Okay. Thank you, Umberto. All right, well, let's run a CMA the old-fashioned way. Sorry, folks, I'm showing you stuff that you don't have yet. So, a little preview. And sorry if that caused you a headache there, Umberto, as well. But let's run a CMA. Here, let's go actually. What I can do is let's start a CMA. Let's remember this one. I'm going to write this one down. I'm going to write down its listing number so I don't forget it. And that's 432203. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from this property. Because again, I like to start from a property. I don't like to pick my comps first. I like to start with my subject property. So we'll go to my matrix, my CMAs, and we are going to go to start a new CMA. We're going to go to John Homebuyer. You probably only have cross property because the matrix 3 property CMA is what I was showing you a moment ago. So we'll do cross property, and I'll say, new CMA for John. And I didn't spell that right, but we'll live with that. Pages is next. This is the first place that you start. So number one, you're going to want to put a cover sheet on there. Remember, we set that up at the very beginning, how that feels like yesterday at this point, but there's my cover sheet with a photo. Maybe next, I want to put in a map. I can put that in. Subjects and adjustments I want to put in next. I can click them individually. Summary list, price adjustments. Another thing you can do is you can click on comparables and you can click on everything you see here, or you can just click on the comparables header itself, and then it just adds all those things if you want to. I can also add a bunch of static pages too. These things that you see here, this is a lot of sort of realtor marketing speak, a lot of sort of in the can, out of the box, my guarantee to you, the benefits of using a realtor, the importance of pricing, setting the price, trying to explain things to folks. If you like those, put them in here. If you don't, take them out. Also, if you've got something a little bit more personal, you can upload your own custom PDFs here if you want to, in terms of custom pages. So if you've got your own little screed or suggestions to people that you want to include in this CMA, all you have to do is hit upload custom pages, upload a PDF, and it will then be available for you here in your available pages, and you can bring it over to your selected pages and we'll save it for you. In fact, just like I always mention, you can set these things as a default if you want to as well. Okay, next we move over to the subject property, and I want to find a subject property. You've got lots of ways to do this. You can type in your subject property fields manually. That's one thing you can do. I had a question earlier from Jose about what if the property's not listed? Well, here's another way to go about doing that. You can enter a public tax ID number to fill from, or you can search for a public record to autofill from. So we still have that public record search available for you. You can find properties that aren't listed and you can comp them. You could also put in a tax ID up here. Actually, I already talked about that one. You could search for a listing, or remember, I just got this listing. I think it was what, 432203, and we'll fill from that one. There it is. I get my address information. I get my features, acres, general information. If there's a field you don't see here on the left and you want another field in there, you can add custom fields up to maybe about 8 of them. Maybe I say to myself, I really want to make sure people understand what county that property is in. So I'll choose county, and it puts in Hidalgo. There's the photo of that property. Since it was listed, we have a photo of the home. If this was a non-listed property, you might want to upload your own photo that you have of that home if it's a public record search. Here are the remarks. Since it was a listed property, same thing goes. You want to put your own remarks in? Feel free. I always recommend clicking on the map location here, clicking on locate. This way you can make sure that we've placed the pin right in the middle of the property, right where it belongs. It was 1101. I can see the 1101 there. We look pretty good, but you can click it, drag it, move it next door if it's not in the right place. You can always find it by putting in a street address too. And then once you do, it fixes up that latitude and that longitude. Next, we'll move to my cover page. We don't need to do anything here because remember, I already set up all my cover page stuff. Actually, I lied. We do need to do one thing. We should probably send this over to, or put the information that we wanted to put in here for my contact. So who it was prepared by, who it is prepared for. And of course, that photo will be up there too. Now we get to choose our comparables. So I click on comparables and I haven't added any. There's a couple things you can do here. You can add them from public records, add from tax. You can add them from listings. So we could do a search and find the properties that we think match that home. Or you could add them from a cart. Now, this is going to be a bit of a disjointed CMA, but you can do any of these things. Remember, I added all these properties to a cart. These are probably going to be terrible comps for the property I just chose because I wasn't really paying attention to all that. We sort of chose a property I wasn't prepared for, but I can add them from a cart if I want to. I can add them from listings if I want to. If I want to do a search, and get some results, I'd want to narrow it down a little bit, but I'll just check one at random in this case, and I can add that one. All different ways that you can add comparables. I'm up to 6 now. I could do a public record search, and I could add some properties that have never been listed as comparables. So
Right.
I've chosen my comps. Yeah, go ahead.
Will the appraiser do the same thing, or the appraiser will only use what's on the MLS to get their appraisal?
I am not positive about what an appraiser's standard operating procedure would be. That I'm not sure about. But we do give you at least the option to add them from either public records or from listings. I'm not sure which, not being an appraiser, I'm not sure which they would want to do though.
Saves all.
All good? Okay. Next, I'm going to move over to the map. Nothing to do here on the map. Just tells you where your properties are. And I'll bet you they're kind of scattered willy-nilly all over the place. And they are. Because there's my subject property and my comps are kind of all over the place. But at least they're all in the same city. So probably not great comps, but now you know where they are and where they're located. Adjustments is something that you really don't have to do at all. It's totally up to you. What we do here with adjustments, and you only have the ability to set them, well, you can set them manually if you want to. But if you want to do some automated stuff, what you can do here is bedrooms, bathrooms, and half baths. Maybe you know that if you've got a property, an extra bedroom on a property adds $25,000 of value to a home in your area. What you can do is just put that $25,000 value in there under beds. And for every property that has less bedrooms than your subject property, we're going to add $25,000 worth of value. If there were any properties with more than 4 bedrooms, maybe it was up to 5 bedrooms, we would subtract $25,000 worth of value from that property. So for example, if I put in, the half bath, and maybe that's a $5,000, extra, we're subtracting $5,000 of value from the property that has that extra half bath. Not necessary for you to use, but you can. Pricing is next. Here is where you will get the comp price, the adjustable comp price, your high, lows, and your medians. We will even give you a suggested price here, but of course, this doesn't go anywhere. This additional analysis, this is for you. You're the one that gets to suggest the list price. You can say, I think we should list at, hey, 435,000, who am I to argue? But no, you're the expert in the area and we want to make sure that your information gets put in there. Notes, call with any questions. And we're done. Then you're finished. You've created a comp report. You can save it. You can view it. You can email it. I'll click on view now because that's going to take a minute. While we're doing that, I've kept you a little bit extra, so thank you for all of your patience. I do appreciate it. I would love to come back and show you guys more about Matrix. While we're waiting for that, let's just show you just a couple of housekeeping items. Over here, under the help section, there's some good stuff. Actually, there's some stuff I really wanted to show you first, honestly. I wanted to show you some things under settings that I haven't gotten to yet, one of which is very important. The first thing I'll show you while we're waiting for that CMA to generate is portal notification settings. When your clients are in your portal and they do things, you don't necessarily want to go into Matrix to find out what they did. If they sent you a note and they're hot for a property, you might want to get texted about that. You might want to get emailed immediately after that happened. You can also be sent a daily summary of what your clients did at the end of the day. And of course, all those things can be included on your timeline too. So you have 4 different ways, and you can choose all of them, none of them, or some of them to be notified about when your clients perform a particular task in the portal. So if they save a property or remove a dislike, you might not want to be texted about that. But if they add a note, or if they, save a favorite, those might be things you want to be texted about. You may want to get in contact with your clients very quickly about that. To be texted, you do need to put in your mobile number, your cellular provider. You need to opt into receiving texts from us. But that's some good information there that I find here under the settings section. Also, your custom displays, your custom hot sheets, your custom exports, anything that you've created. Remember, I created the one with the HOA fees. Here's where you can manage them as well. We've already been through my information, but really that's everything. Speedbar shortcuts I won't get into right now. That's something maybe I can get into maybe when we come back. That's just a quicker way of searching. But now that I've taken that little detour, there we go. Let's look at my CMA that I just created. So here it is. There's the photo of the property, who it was prepared for, who it was prepared by. There's my map. Summary of comparable listings. Remember, I did the price adjustments, so we're going to get several pages of price adjustments now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, So we've got all those comps. Here's your minimums and maximums. Number of days on market. Price graph. Summary of compared listings. Basically everything that I've asked to put in there. The CMA Pro report. CMA Pro report, here we go. A little bit of a nice little chart to show you there too. Giving you information about the average price, the minimum, the maximum. CMA Pro report towards the end there. The pricing recommendation. Here's what I think we should list at. Call with any questions. And that's it. That's your CMA. Oops, don't want to do that. I've pretty much showed you everything that I think you need to be at least pretty dangerous in Matrix. I've showed you how to, again, find all your stuff, manage all your stuff. We took a lot of time showing you the new version versus the old version. We went through a lot of searches, a lot of different views, things that I haven't showed you. If you want to wet your whistle, you want to get a little bit further, there are great stats that you can create. I didn't go over listing input with you today. That's something I'm happy to do with you at another time. There are market reports that you can run too. Those are things I tend to save for, what I call my Matrix 301 class. They're kind of the extras, things that, well, not aside from input. Input's usually its own separate class, but I'm happy to show you how to do that at a different time. But I hope I've showed you everything you need to, again, do the basics of what you need to do. Set up your branding, find properties that you're interested in or that your clients are interested in the areas that they are excited about, and be able to, again, share them with them, whether that's through email, whether that's through the portal, whether that's through printing them out PDFs. Again, that's about everything I had to show you today. I will stop sharing my screen and I'll bring myself back and say goodbye to everybody. Hello again. But thanks, everybody. If there are any questions that come up, let me know. Umberto, feel free to forward things to me. I know you can probably answer a lot of them as well. But happy to help out and do any more trainings for you in the future. Thanks again, everybody.
Awesome. Yes, most likely we'll reach out to you, Brent, and try to get more of these scheduled, because I know that the demand was pretty high today. So yeah, we'll be in touch to see if we can schedule something else. All right.
All right. It was a pleasure. Thanks, everybody, for your time, and enjoy Matrix. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.